Welcome everyone, I'm Aya. I'm going to be your host for tonight's gathering, From Grief to Action, Mothers Against IDOC Cruelty, in collaboration with the Indianapolis Liberation Center and Focus Family Initiatives, a member organization under Focus Initiatives LT. Seeing so many gathered here, familiar allies and new faces, on a Saturday night is a testament to our collective commitment to justice. It's a reminder that despite what mainstream narrative says, the people in our city, our people, are not selfish or self-interested, but willing to sacrifice their time, energy, and other resources for collective liberation. Again, my name is Aya, and I'm one of the volunteer organizers with the Indianapolis Liberation Center, and I'm a member of the Anti-Coalition, which means Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. I first joined the center in October of 2023 when I came upon one of the first Palestinian protests. And it was the first big actions that I saw in the city. And I think it was a call to action for me, because when I was younger, I always felt like I had something, like a voice, but I didn't know how to get that out in the world. And when I met some of my comrades at the protest, like Stephen, or Jay, I knew that coming to the Liberation Center was a good start for me to understand the type of power I could get out into the world. I got to do a lot of events here, like our monthly liberation forums with the PSL, and then also a couple actions, different actions for Palestine with the Anti-Coalition, which one is being hosted tonight. We are here to listen, learn, and continue galvanizing action tonight. We are also here as part of a longer-term and much-needed effort to expose the terror that is the Indiana Department of Corrections, something for which we have always had the most respect for IDOC Watch. It's difficult, but absolutely necessary to continue exposing their past and ongoing crimes. Tonight, we are honored to be joined by 3 women who are united by the injustices they've suffered at the hands of IDOC and are leading a new fight back movement. You want to pass the box around? Building a fight back movement and uniting the movement with all other struggles for justice is what we do at the Liberation Center. Like you, we sacrifice our time, energy, and other resources to do this work. We are completely funded by community donations, and in fact, our volunteers pay financial dues to work here. The oppressors don't fund the oppressed to overthrow them. We must rely on ourselves and each other. We have a couple QR codes posted on the wall, and we'll pass around a donation box for cash and checks. Financial contributions are a sacrifice that are literally the foundation that makes this work possible. We want to keep in mind that the sacrifices the people before us have made, but we believe in equality of sacrifice. $100 for one person might be as much as $20 for the next person. Regardless of the amount you give, know that it's a statement of solidarity and a symbol of our shared commitment to justice and systemic change. Every dollar you give empowers us to continue our work, amplify vital stories, and win victories we desperately need. Building a fight back movement means we have to expose just a few of the many crimes of the IDOC, most of which are completely unknown. Even those that are known and documented, however, are rarely discussed. For example, how many of us know that in 1997, Human Rights Watch wrote a damning report titled Cold Storage, specifically about the horrendous treatment and even torture of prisoners at Indiana Marion Supermax Prison? How many of our friends know? Our family. Their crimes take all forms, and tonight we're truly humbled to have Queene Lewis, who has been instrumental in bringing us together tonight, joined by Miss Sheila and Miss Rosalind on their own and our own. We don't stand a chance against, on their own and our own, sorry, we don't stand a chance against the state. With organization and unity, we can win. That's why Queene started Focus Family Initiatives, confronted with the profound challenge of having 3 sons face the harsh realities of incarceration. Queene is now supporting those in similar situations, inspiring hope, and working as a dedicated field organizer for Focus families to ensure that the voices like Sheila's and Rosalind's resonate and amplify through our community. All right, thank you guys for your continued attention. You'll notice note cards on your seats, and as we dive into the heart of tonight's discussion, They're there for you to jot down any questions or reflections that you have for our speakers. Engaging with these mother stories is not just an act of listening, but solidarity and understanding. The stories we share tonight are essential reminders of the impact of systemic injustice and the strength of those who fight against it. Now, I have the profound honor to introduce Sheila Arnold. Sheila is not just a mother, she is a warrior in the fight against the injustice of the Indiana Department of Corrections. After her son, Queene Lewis, tragically lost his life due to the system's failure, Sheila turned her grief into a campaign for justice, founding the Cornerstone City Mission. Her journey is a resolute testament to a mother's love and the spirit of those who demand change. Please welcome Sheila Arnold.
You have the choice to either stand up at the podium or you can sit right where you want. It's really whatever's comfortable for you. Share what you want to share. Ask what you want to ask.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like definitely to give honor to God, because there is no way that I could even be standing here at the death of my son, and I have to give him all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise first. And second of all, I have to really thank Queene Lewis for actually stepping out and coming in and say, hey, Miss Sheila, you know, your story, being through other connections. She said, I want to hear your story, and I would like for you to join us in our fight in IDOC. And I said, I would love to, because I feel that it is an act of God, because we must be united. You know, there's strength in numbers, and I strongly believe that. And I'm a talker, so I'm just going to get, you know, as women, I'm just going to get to the point, okay? So first of all, I just want to say, in short, to start with my story, is my son, he was in Wabash Valley Prison, and you know, Wabash Valley Prison is one of the deadliest prisons in Indianapolis, well, in the state of Indiana. Anyway, I was on my way, not to see my son one weekend, I was on my way to take someone else to see their loved one. And I got 3 phone calls. First, they said that my son had a medical emergency. The second call said, and it was another inmate of the sister that I was taking, they said they were doing CPR on my son. Third one, they said my son was dead. And the girl said, you want to pull over? I said, no, I got to get to the prison. So, yeah, cried all over the place and everything, got there. And I went up to the desk and they said, who would you like to see? I said, I can't see him. He just died in your prison. And immediately they went and got, you know, the investigator. And he came out and he said, there's no foul play. But see, they didn't know I was coming. I didn't know I was coming. But God set it up. Because who gets to the prison when your son is actually being rolled out of the prison in the ambulance? You know it's got to be God. It is God. So anyway, I said, the Holy Spirit said, Sheila, you need to see him. And I said, can I see my son? They said, we don't do that. You cannot see a body coming up. Like, no. And I just dropped to the ground and I said, I need to see my son. And they said, well, do you want us to take his body? Immediately, and I've heard stories, you do not give your child, no matter what, I don't care if you don't have money to bury them, you don't give their bodies to the DOC, because I've heard they've been destroyed before you even know it. But I said, no, I want my son's body. So anyway, they went back and they talked to the warden, once again, because it was God. Let her see. They put me in the sheriff's car. Okay, they took me around to the prison and the ambulance was there, and I sat in the car, and I can't even describe to you how I felt. It was really indescribable, and I was definitely by myself. And so anyway, got in the ambulance, the body bag was there, and they said, are you ready? And of course I prayed, y'all know, of course I prayed. And yeah, I'm ready. And so the Holy Spirit said, Sheila, it's like, just look at it. Don't open your mouth. Because I think if I would have opened my mouth, no telling what would have happened. I would have probably gotten my emotions and crazy and all that kind of stuff. But he said, just look at it. So I just walked around, looked at him, his whole face. He said, scour over him, just look at him. And what he wanted me to see Guess what? My son didn't just die. My son was already in rigor mortis. His lips were blue. His eyes were open and they were blue and black. And he had stab wounds in his head leading to the side. So I looked and I just looked and looked and just looked. Just so I could have a good visual when I left. It's like, yeah, that's my child. So I left, and anyway, just to zip, all the way forward, I got a second autopsy, and they did their autopsy, and there was multiple blunt force trauma, to my son's head. And I had asked this young lady to pass this around because, like I had told Queen, I feel that this is a call on my life because of the way it happened, and I have to do this because of the injustice and those that need to be accountable, from the ones that you pay your taxes for those that are in prison. Your money is going to cruelty, the taxpayers' money. And also, Governor Holcomb, he needs to know, he needs to be accountable what's going on too, because he's over the prisons. And those that go from Indiana, they go to the Congress. They need to bring these things up. They need to bring my son's picture about your son and her son, these things that need to be, and seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. So I wanted her to, there's one more right here. And I wanted you to see this because first thing he told me, that there was nothing, no foul play with my son. But my son had multiple stab wounds. Now, let me just iterate this. They said that my son had multiple drugs in his body and fentanyl. Okay? That's what they said. But in the story there, in the article, I have not, this is one nurse, but I have several nurses that said, Sheila, your son did not kill himself. He was either hung or struck or strangled, because I brought my little notes. He has hyoid bone that's fractured. He has a tubal thing, and when you're been dead, he had been dead 8 to 10 hours when I seen him. But they had a tubal thing, a tubal, when we try to save someone's life, why would they do that on a person that is in rigor mortis? It's so many questions here that I do not have answered. They didn't have the time of death on my son's death certificate. And personally, I'm just gonna say this, the coroner's office and the IDOC, they are covering up my son's murder. I hired and I'm not gonna call any names, a super lawyer here. And the super lawyer said that they believe the inmates, because they said in the middle of the night that my son was yelling and screaming. So guess what? Where were the guards? But in the report, those guards that were on guard, they were no longer there. I have no answers. I don't know, nobody will, even the coroner that I paid $1,000 or $1,500 to, that person, they ditched me. I called them, tell me, what is going on, And they passed my son to another coroner person, and I never got any answers. And then the original pictures of my son, they kept passing it on, and they said, the lawyer said they didn't have them. The coroner said they didn't have them. I said, well, where are the pictures? I was gonna let this thing go, but the Holy Spirit wouldn't let it go. It's almost like, I think, a year later, and I came to Indiana, and I called the lawyer's office. I called them, where are the original photos? Because she said that she couldn't make a final analysis, on the report, but she did it anyway without seeing the final pictures. And she did it. And so, I asked them about the photos. She said, Sheila, I never received them. And I called the lawyer. I said, where are the photos? They said, oh, they're here. A year later, guess what? I went there. My daughter, it was either me or my daughter went there. They were sitting up under the lawyer's desk with dust on them. My son's cut up body, sliced up body. And then I found out later on, but those pictures are different from the pictures later on, because I seen my son's hands. They look like they were bleached or doused in water, and to get rid of evidence. I'm just telling y'all, it's so much. Now, the part about the lawyer part, okay, Indiana's own. I should be able, but everybody knows, and everybody says you cannot get a lawyer in your own state. They say you gotta go out. So what's going on here? What is going on in Indiana? Why are y'all covering up so much? Why do we have to get an outside lawyer? Why couldn't you help me? I called multiple lawyers, and even the super lawyer is like, they said, well, who did you have? I had so-and-so. Oh, well, if he didn't take it, I'm not taking it. This super lawyer. And I could not find anyone, so guess what? God blessed me with someone at the 11th hour. He wasn't a lawyer, but he had been to prison and he knew how to do lawyer paperwork. He filed pro se, so I can represent myself. But I had one where the judge said, no, you can't represent him. You cannot do it. And so he wrote and asked the judge, can you do a federal investigation? The judge in Indiana would not do a federal investigation on my son's murder. He would not. But the judge said, Miss Sheila, you can file for your pain and suffering and what you're going through. I'm just interested in money. I need to know what happened to my son. What happened? Where were the guards? My son was going off because everybody knows fentanyl is everywhere. How in the world did he get the fentanyl? And my son even told me, he said, Mama, is prejudice up here? They don't like me because my son is, one of those men, he stand up. Like one time he said he wanted to use the bathroom after church. They wanted him to go into a filthy, stinky bathroom, and he's a clean person. He said, Mama, I said, I couldn't do it. I was gonna throw up, I couldn't do it. So they put him in the hole, took his phone away. And why do they, little bitty small things, a phone call because you're not talking, they put you in a hole and where you can only come out for 1 hour. And like it's already been said, when COVID came, it is a mental, many doctors have said, it is a mental cruelty to be locked down 24 hours, coming out, nobody, no one to talk to. That's another thing to strike against the prison. So if it's not okay with us, why is it okay for them to be put in a hole where you don't talk to your family or no one? And you're going crazy because my son said, Mama, you gotta get me out of here. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me, Mama, like that. And he said, Mama, you're my queen. He said, if anything ever happens to me, guess what he said? The guards had something to do with it. That's what he said. So, I mean, I'm here first on behalf of God because I am not the only parent. When God had me to put my story out there on Facebook, so many mothers called me from Indianapolis, Indiana, and messaged me. And there's some stories that my son is not the only one that have been killed there. And it's other murders that have been covered up, and the abuse that have been covered up. And they are getting away with it. They are getting away with it. And the only way, just like groups of abortion, groups of LGBT, I mean, you have to build a mass group. Yeah, we have criminal, against cruelty here, one there, this city, that's it. But we have to come together. We have to find a way to connect together so we can bring attention, and we have to make a loud noise because this is happening to all of us, not just in the state of Indiana, not just here. We have to come together some kind of way and make a loud noise so the president and the Congress and even the state, just here in the state of Indiana. And right now, I live in Texas and I do my ministry there and I put shows on and events and I minister to people. And I'll come back here as many times as I need to, okay? Because this is where it all started, okay? And through Miss Queen, I am here. So whenever she needs me, I will be here. There's more to my son's story, but I just want to say that God wants me to expose, and try to get, some answers, maybe we can get some laws changed. We can't say what's gonna happen, but at least we try, and that's what God wants us to do. He does not want injustice to keep going on without being unchecked. And I'm gonna tell you why. As sure as my son is in the ground, my son is gone. I raised him up in the admiration of the Lord. As sure as he's gone, guess what? Governor Holcomb, the president, and our people that go to the Congress, guess what? You're gonna go that way too. You're gonna go that way too. So we want to make this noise for you to repent, make change, do something about it. Because guess what? My son's blood is on your hands, Warden. It's on your hands, Governor Holcomb. And I'm saying his name. Because you need to find out. Why are you hiding his murder? What is so sinister at Wabash Valley Prison that you have to go to the extent to where you even drag the coroner's office in it and make them do wrong for your mess? It's wrong. It is wrong. And it is happening in the state of Indiana. And I'm telling you, it's wicked and it's sinister and it's happening. And another lady, her son was murdered there. They had a young man, and I don't know if you heard about his name is Akango. He was gonna testify. They killed him. And so there was another young man that the lawyer was gonna help testify, but the mother asked the other mother, please don't ask my son, because they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill my son. And guess what? State of Indiana, some people here, they threatened her life. She let it go. She called me, she told me her story. Other mothers, I got their names and stuff, and they told me their stories about here. So all these things are hidden, and they're up under rocks here. But it needs to be exposed. You need billiards. Put my son, you see the picture? Go around, you see that? Put it up there. I mean, we need some hardcore stuff here to bring it attention. And it's happening, I don't care what color you are. It's happening to all. Wicked is wicked, evil is evil. And like I said, I'm a talker. I could go on because I'm angry and I'm hurt. I got in a car accident and the lawyer shot out on me. I had to look at my son's cut up body, all those pictures by myself, on my own. Couldn't work. I've been homeless since that for 3 or 4 years. He was murdered. He was there, it happened in 2019. And there's so many, and I just, when I lay in bed, I just write down questions, because if it ever comes before a lawyer, someone that has enough guts, enough bravery to pick up my story and pick up this case and take it somewhere and get some answers, I believe it would be really a breakthrough, not just for me, but the state of Indiana. And also, I mentioned to Queen, one thing that we need to do, if mothers and people, you come together, you're worried, that we need to put a project together to where when your child goes in, if something is going on, notate everything. We need to have some kind of booklet, because if we can bring it to the courts, you will have the evidence. You will have everything that you need to, like if they're sick or they're mental or whatever, just the injustice, the abuse, the racism that they are doing to them. And you have to jot these things down. You have to document these things, because you got to have evidence. You got to seeing is believing. You got to track them down and you got to pin them down. I'm telling you, some ways to do it. But we have to come together. We have to have a system. They got a system. We need a system. I'm going to stop here. Just read my story, take pictures of the book, and you got to do this in Indiana, okay? Because, like I said, more and more young people are going to the prison right now as we speak. That's going on. And this is going to happen to them, okay? All right, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Oh, I took your stuff. Okay. Oh, I sure did. Yeah, I get a little excited. I tell you. I'm ready on this. What is this?
Next, we will introduce you to Rosalind Jackson. Rosalind Goodman. I'm so sorry. Rosalind Goodman, a mother embroiled in a dual battle against injustices of the IDOC, with her son, Kevin, serving a 28-year sentence and grappling with the system's harsh conditions. Her brother, like Michael, a victim of the deeply flawed injustice system, Rosalind's advocacy is both personal and profound. Her relentless fight for justice, born from sleepless nights and the constant worry for her son's safety, demands accountability and systemic reform. Co-founding the Justice for Inmates Association, Rosalind channels her grief and love into a force for change, advocating for those without a voice. Her story is a beacon of hope and resilience, showing us the power of a mother's love and the impact of unwavering advocacy. Let's give it up for Rosalind.
First of all, I apologize for not being able to stand, but due to my health, I'm not able to do that. Listening to Sheila tell her story, it sounded like I was telling my story. My son was an inmate at Wabash. They beat my son, and they said that my son tried to commit suicide. When they never took him out to the hospital or anything, another inmate called me to let me know what was going on with my son. I in turn called the prison to find out what was going on. They act like they didn't know anything. I insisted. He said, well, you can't see him. And my response was, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna have to call the National Guards, the police, because I'm coming to see my son. The phone muffled, and he was talking to somebody, and then he came back and he said, well, who'll be coming? I said, myself, my daughters, and my son. When we got to the hospital, they had my son on a machine. He had a gash to his head. He had footprints embedded in his chest, his arms, his leg was broke. I proceeded to take the cover back to look further, and the officer said that I couldn't do that, or either we would have to leave. Since my son has been at Wabash, they deny him meals. They took all his personal belongings, and he just, it's just been a constant harassment. They keep taking his time away from him. They write up false allegations. They keep changing his time. He was supposed to be out in the year of 24. They took his time back to 35. So they say he owed, first they said he owed $1,800. Then they said he owed $10,000. So I'm the type of person, I'm a bugaboo. I constantly call the prison. The same thing happened in Pendleton. Wabash and Pendleton is our two main, all of them are corrupt, but Wabash and Pendleton is too much. Too many things going on, people losing their life. I got people that's been emailing me. It's one man talking about he got a son up there for 34 years. He don't know what his son is up there for. He say his son is deaf and he feared for his life. My son kept calling and say they was gonna kill him too. I believe that's what they was trying to do, because they maced him. They locked him in the restroom with all his clothes off and put him in the shower and maced him and just left him there. If it hadn't been for somebody else on the outside that seen what was going on, that's what they were planning on doing. But God has been on my son's side. He's been on his side every step of the way, and I thank him. And when I read Sheila's story and heard it, it made me forget about mine. Because I still have my son. I can still touch him whenever I'm allowed to visit, because I haven't saw my son in over 10 years. We couldn't visit. They keep him locked up 24/7. Some days he could take a shower, and if he did, it was a cold shower. I reached out to the commissioner. Couldn't get nowhere. You don't get no further than the secretary. Oh, they'll call you, but you never hear. Me, I'm bold. I'd like to take this to the White House. The government needs to do something about the abuse that's going on within the prison system. We pay taxes, and they abuse our loved ones. It's time out for that. It could be somebody else's child the next day or today. We can't keep waiting. We have to do something, and we have to do it now. So, lady, I salute you. You hear me? And I'm here anytime you need to talk to me, and I will give you my phone number. Queene is another one. She has 3 sons that's in the system. 3. Can you imagine? 3? I got 1. She got 3. She got to deal with it every day, knowing, wondering if her sons are going to be here tomorrow or tonight or the next day. I am appalled at the Department of Correction. Everybody that sit down there on their butts and type and push those pens, they lie, they feed us stories, they're not honest. We need to do something. We need to do it quick, because we got young kids going in the system every day. I got a text from a man where he was saying that his son set his cell on fire. The inmates was calling for help. The guards never went and said that the baby melted. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that being your child? Your son? Your daughter? Your husband? Your brother? I couldn't. We owe it to our loved ones. Not just our loved ones, but your loved ones, my loved ones, his, yours, we all loved ones. Because we got somebody that's in the system. Each and every one of us in this room probably have somebody that's in the Department of Correction in the state of Indiana.
And if you don't got nobody, you know somebody.
Stand up, speak up. Don't talk about it, be about it. And I ain't got no problem with getting in front of the line, because I'm going to speak up for mine, yours, and everybody else's.
At 76 years old, y'all.
Thank you both for your powerful testimonies and advocacy to justice. Thank you. All right. Next, we will have another remarkable force in our community, Queene Lewis. Moving from Gary to Evansville over 2 decades ago in search of a better life for her children, Queene's journey took an unexpected turn as she faced the heartache of having 3 sons incarcerated. Despite the pain, Queene transformed her anguish into action, becoming a steadfast advocate for families torn apart by the prison system. As a field organizer for Focus Family Initiatives and the Evansville Director and House Manager for Focus Initiatives Ltd., Queene has dedicated herself to creating support networks and resources for those re-entering society. Her work embodies the essence of our gathering today: hope, resilience, and the transformative power of our community support. Please join me in welcoming Queene, whose story touches the heart and ignites a fire within us to advocate for change and support each other through the darkest of times.
Okay, y'all got me at this thing. First thing I want to say is I always be wondering, like, who they talking about when they be introducing me. Just for some clarification, y'all call it what y'all want, but it's my frustration, it's my depression, it's my constant fights, battles with anxiety. It's my fed up, I'm so fucking sick of these people mentality that keeps me keep going. When I talk to people like Miss Rosalind or Miss Sheila and some other families that I've reached out either through the social media platform, through word of mouth, I've had people call me and be like, my son said so-and-so, or, you know, Mom, I'm gonna have so-and-so family call you. It's my constant movement with somebody else's issues that stops me from allowing my own issues to paralyze me. So I don't consider that courage. It's really, you know, just a coping mechanism for me right now. And with me having 3 sons incarcerated, you know, raising them up down there in them southern sticks, I saw this coming, but wasn't educated enough to do anything about it. Like, I saw all of my neighborhood sons, and, you know, with 3 sons and everybody got their own clique, it turned out to be about 15 to 18 of them that called me mom. But I saw these young men go to jail. Some of them done dropped dead. Some of them done got strung out. And I'm just thankful that I wasn't one of them people in the community to be like, better yours than mine. Oh, that'll never happen to me. Just being a constant support regardless and realizing that the situation can always get worse is one of the things that kept me active in the community. The funny thing is, even though my sons got tripped up, when they did get tripped up, they had friends that, you know, just kind of sat back and was like, you know what, I was wondering what's going to happen. Because it was some times y'all praying mama must have had, you know, it must be some real power in prayer type deal. You know, surprised that it took as long as it did. But when it did happen, I didn't start Focus Initiative by myself. It was at the suggestion of the comrades that had embodied me as a total stranger, because I was a lost freaking cause. Through the patience with them that they had with me. So I give what I received because that's what I saw that worked. Going through the depression and things, when you go through something like that, you feel like you all by yourself. But the first time that I actually had to share my story, I realized that as horrible as it might have been to me, because listening to Miss Rosalind's story and Miss Sheila's story, one would say your stuff ain't all that bad, sis, real talk. But once I started sharing it, I, as horrible as it felt to me, I realized that it was like the most common thing across the people that deal with the Indiana Department of Corrections. You know, our political line tells us that the PIC, the prison industrial complex, is an apparatus for social control. And one of the things that they want to control, they not only want to control the inmates, they also want to control everything and everybody connected to the inmates. Because, see, my issue right now is they banned me from 6 months from going to see my son, not even just my son, any other comrade or neighborhood kid that I support and nurture and mentor and learn from, for that matter, anybody over there that can't get in touch with me now. So, y'all want me to share that story? Okay. The last time I saw my son was December the 20th of 23. It was cold as freak out there. I had on a pair of jeans, a turtleneck, and a flannel shirt because it's cold outside. I walk through the door and the guard immediately tells me, "You can't wear that in there." What are you talking about? You got on too many layers. And I'm looking at this woman, and while she telling me I got on too many layers, she got on a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt that cover up the thumbs, and her uniform shirt. So my question was, you can dress for the weather, but I can't? What's going on here? Well, it's policy. Okay, so where can I refer to this policy that you're telling me about? Oh, you signed it when you accepted visitation, which means I should be able to go back to it electronically and see what I signed. Is there another copy other than the one you pointing to that's taped to your desk? Can you show me that? Y'all know they don't like that, right? So I go in and I take one of the layers off. Now I can't get through the metal detector because of my beads. As you notice, I got wooden beads. Now I'm ready for the ass. But at first, it was like them cute little tin things, because that's what I do. And she comes over to me. She said, "I can help you take them out." And I immediately said, "Look, I am not in the right headspace to have you helping me play in my hair. So what I'm going to do is, I appreciate it, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to work it out." And I'm just yanking them out. And she kept doing this. I said, "Hey, don't touch my hair. They ain't like that." So I go through all that. I finally get through the metal detector. Now, before all of this started, I'd say I got to use the bathroom. So when I finally get through the metal detector, y'all see, I have to unlace my boots when I go. Okay? They want me to unlace my boots. I got to raise my feet up. I went to the bathroom. I never put anything back on when I went to the bathroom. I went straight to the bathroom. I come back out. I wait about 30, 45 seconds. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, okay. So I put on both of my boots, took the time to lace them up and tie them up and tuck the shoestring and take the change and put one handful of change in my pocket. And by the time I go to put the second handful of change in my pocket, she said, "Oh, you can't go in there." I said, "Why not?" She said, "I have to frisk you again." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because you went to the bathroom." I said, "It's y'all's bathroom. What's really going on here?" The second time, the first time she frisked me, I didn't really pay attention to it because I was already frustrated. And I've been known to, it just took everything in me to do one of them numbers. It just took some effort. But that second time she frisked me, now I visited my son several times, and I've gone undergo the little wand searches and the pat searches, but felt like this woman was filling me up. And by the time she come back around and she kind of do one of them numbers and kind of grace, and I was like, "Oh, baby, you need to hurry this shit up. Please hurry this up. My skin's about to crawl." And when I do this, the other lady comes out of the control room or panel, wherever she at, because all she saw was this, and she saw right because I had to start singing church songs so that my hand wouldn't move, and pop this woman. What's the problem? She got a problem with the frisking. "Well, ma'am, if you got a problem," I said, "Look, I'm already spread eagle. I don't like this policy. Let's hurry up and get the subway. My skin's starting to crawl." She said, "Well, it's policy." I said, "I understand it's your policy, but just because it's your policy don't make it right. I am well within my right to express my disgust with your policy. I am not the one incarcerated. Can we please just hurry this up? I got to visit. So if I was disrespectful or unruly to the point or violating any policies, they wouldn't have let me back there. Because I have been turned away before, people. Okay, I know the rule. I know the process. I didn't find out that they put the ban in place until my son called me or tried to call me, and he had to call me on the three-way to tell me that they had taken me off of his call list. And not only did they take me off of his call list, they just blocked me all the way across. So they said, per policy. But here it is. I can get electronic messages from anywhere but Branchville, but nobody in IDOC can call me. I cannot send my son any electronic mail. They won't allow any snail mail. I tried it because they sent it back with their raggedy asses. Okay. They won't allow me to send him any snail mail, and they won't allow him to call my phone number. But that's not even, which means you picking and choosing how you go apply your own freaking policy. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to refer to how you are, call yourself issuing this punitive exercise to me. It's not even going according to what y'all writing. That's too much control. That's too much control. And it might not. I got a son that's over in Colorado. I go weeks without hearing from him. And it's not until, I'm like Miss Rosalind, baby, I don't mind calling. And I'm going to call, and I'm going to keep calling, and I'm going to keep calling. And then I'm going to call, and then I'm going to have my sister and my cousins call too. So, when it goes too long while I haven't heard from him, that's exactly the process that starts. He tells me that when the counselor comes to tell him that that he needs to call home, the counselor be like, man, you know your family on that bullshit, go on and call your mama or something like that. I had to explain to one of my younger sons, my baby boy. He keeps telling me like, well, mama, this is my life, and I'm the one doing the prison time. No, baby, what you don't realize is why you in prison, we all in prison. You ain't the only one doing this time. You are not doing this by yourself. From the support to you, to the support to fill the void that's left when they snatch you up like that, to helping with your kids and the nieces and nephews that are also affected by, you know what no, baby, you're not doing this time by yourself. Accountability is one of the things that we need to push. Today's program was set up in the order that it was because after hearing Miss Rosalind and Miss Sheila's story, it might not seem so bad for Queene. But just like she said, they got a plan in place. And if you're paying attention, everything starts small. You see what I'm saying? Everything just starts small. So they might start by limiting and telling you as the family and the loved ones who contribute money to this building that they keep saying is so freaking necessary. Why are we paying for cruelty? I don't understand that. Why are we paying somebody to mistreat us and misuse us and fuck over our loved ones? I don't understand that, but that's what we're doing right now. You get what I'm saying? And everything starts, and the momentum just keeps picking up. And so it might not be your story today, and it might not be mine today, or it might, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that it could be your story at any given time. People ask me all the time when my kids coming home. And my true, honest answer is I don't pay attention to the outdates. Because working in this field and knowing how strong of men that I've raised, I realize that can happen at any time. I just got one that was in the safe house, doing good, working 2 jobs, done acquired a car, and went to every class they told him to go to. Guess what they locked his ass up for? for reminding the guard that he was a grown man and I need some respect just like you demanding it. And they locked my baby up for 45 days and didn't think nothing else about it. It's too much control. And another thing is, everybody knows how the corruption takes place. Like the people that work around this, they probably won't say it in front, but my son telling me, you know, the counselor said, I know, yeah, they've been known to do some things like that. The public defender's like, yeah, you know what? They do, you know, and they always on some bullshit. Everybody know what's going on, but they get away with it. That's too much control, y'all. Now, I can definitely, I am learning the connection between what's going on over here and what's going on over in Palestine and what's going on over in Gaza. I understand that. But sometimes we got to get upset enough to start defending this place. They doing what they want to do. That's why they got us distracted all the way over there. So they can finish doing whatever the hell they want to do right up under our noses. And that's crazy. Because all of us, I believe, we as a people, we are smart enough to take care of ourselves. Why they, instead of just sitting back and let them do what they do, everything they do. I think I'm done.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you for your powerful story. I do want to say you may not see it, but what you do is very courageous, and it is the definition of community building. So, thank you. All right. As we move into the next phase of our evening, I want to draw attention again to the note cards that are on your seats or under your seats before the event began. We want you to jot down like any questions that you have about our speakers or for our speakers, and then we'll start a Q&A. This Q&A is a unique chance to explore deeper insights and perspectives, building on a profound story and ideas we've heard tonight. Engaging with our enriches our collective understanding and fortifies our community's bond. Let's embrace this opportunity to ask thoughtful questions that further enlighten and inspire our journey together. All right. Bridget's handing around some pens right now. If you guys want to write down, we'll take a couple minutes and then we'll get started with our Q&A, okay? Thank you, everyone.
If you have a question, you can just wave your card and they'll come pick it up and bring it to the mothers.
No, he was not. No, he was not. Right before that. He went for Wabash.
Yeah.
They sent him from Michigan City in 2006. They sent him to.
We could just do question. We can just do raise hands.
Okay, so that's what I had that day we were filming.
All right, if everyone wants to finish wrapping up their questions, we're going to get started with the Q&A. If you like, you can hand your question up to us on your card, and we can read it out loud for you. If you want to ask the question yourself, that's totally fine. We'll just do like call and answer, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Just speak about, yeah, just read it out.
Okay, so the first question is for Sheila and Rosalind. It's saying, have you ever considered putting all of your stories in a book?
I personally, I've never thought about it. Putting it in a book, I don't think it would do any good. I mean, I don't think so. Me personally, I believe starting at the top. Without the head, the body can't function. So you putting it in a book, people gonna read about the story, but how many are gonna respond to that story? But if you take it directly to the head, somebody gotta hear you. Somebody gonna hear you. They gotta listen, but they can't turn you away. I went to the Department of Correction in person and let them know about my son. That I wasn't gonna tolerate them doing whatever they thought they wanted to do to him. That every day he did, I did also. I couldn't sleep at night. I could barely eat. It was just my kids, my girls. It was our family. We go through it every day. 'Cause you don't never know. She got hers in the magazine. How many people that's higher up, including attorneys, have responded to your story in this?
Well, so far, to be honest, none.
That's what I'm talking about.
None.
White House, all the way.
None.
Department of Justice.
Did I say, I'm the one that asked
And
the
make them
question.
be held accountable for what they doing, because they the one that's doing this. They do what they wanna do in the prisons. They treat us like we inmates. They made me walk all the way to the parking lot because they say I couldn't stand there till my granddaughter picked me up. I walked with a cane. This is just what it is, a book. They need this mouth action. It's just like knocking on doors. If you don't knock on doors, you ain't gonna get in. So, no, I never thought about putting mine in the book.
My thought
I'm gonna
process
take,
was,
well, I just,
yeah, my thought process is not in the sense of trying to necessarily just tell everybody's story, but to bring awareness, because my experience with the prison system was not maximum security prison. So these are new to me. But I would pick up a book about people who have had loved ones in the prison system, my thought process is it really does bring awareness. And if people don't know, they can't pick up the cause.
You know, I would like to say, I tell my kids, there's always two sides to the coin, right?
Amen.
Two sides. There is definitely, her side is very valid, and what you're hearing is, you're hearing a parent, part of her voice feels like the hopelessness. Like she asked me, have you got, and we feel that. And it's validated, and that is okay. It really is okay. That's just what you're hearing from her. Like, what's gonna happen? What good is it gonna do? And we do feel that, but it takes people like Queene Lewis to come by and say, hey, you know, hang in there. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep doing this because we do want answers. We do want justice. She's frustrated, and we all express ourselves differently. Now me, like I said, I'm hurt and I'm angry. But I'm ready to do any and everything. Like I said when I was standing there, take my son's body, put a billboard over there, and put Wabash Valley Prison. What happened to this young man? Put it up on the highway. That's what I'm talking about. And guess what? And put the stories in the book. And the reason I agree with that, because guess what? Someone in this United States or outside of the United States, they might do something you never know. All it takes is one person to make a difference. And we never know what God, the seeds that we plant, is going to come up. So yeah, I would definitely, I think all of Indiana's stories. Matter of fact, on my Facebook page, I have my son, my loved one child was died in prison. And accountability, police accountability and all of that. And I asked for stories. Her story is in I collect stories because I believe the collection of the stories bring awareness. And we need the collection, and we can have a book. Put your story, let's put, because guess what? President or Congress, here you go, right here. We got it all right here. What matter of fact, we got a stack of them right here. We're gonna send them all to you. I mean, that's why I said it's two sides. So
Yeah,
it's
what
just
I
valid.
think should
it's
be
a great
done
idea.
is, go to the White House. Don't let them know. You don't get them, don't let the right hand know what the left hand doing. Don't give them a chance to make up an excuse. Don't give them a chance to turn you away. Ask questions. Make them, and the lawyers, they get your money and they don't do nothing. They got my money, $8,000, and he never even went to court to represent my son.
Baby, I paid $20,000 that I didn't even know I had.
I asked for itemized statement. They told me, what itemized statement? Well, I need a statement. That's what you did. What did you do for $8,000? You didn't go to court. You talked to my son twice. That's $8,000. Come on now. They're just as crooked as the people within the system. If you ask me, they're working with them.
Well, see, and that's exactly why. Okay, you guys had money. Guess what? I'm poor.
I didn't.
I'm poor. Well,
I didn't. I had to borrow it. I'm still paying the boat.
What I'm saying is, I didn't have anything to borrow. I had nothing, and my son is dead,
Yes.
and nobody even had mercy on me in the state of Indiana to want to help me because I didn't have money, and they asked me for money. But I'm saying,
I help you. I still can help
but
you.
you're not a lawyer. I'm talking about the lawyer.
We can be our own lawyer.
But I
We can
do-
be our own
but I
lawyer
do
because
want to
we the
say-
one that it's happened to. It didn't happen to the lawyer. It happened to you, me, her, and somebody else out there.
And you know, and I believe that she's one, that's another section of it, that she does have a point. Because one thing that needs to happen in the state of Indiana, we need to find either some students that are coming out, or a group that is not afraid. We need a group of lawyers that are willing to say, you know what, we are solely for IDOC organizations, and we're gonna come together. Because that's what I said, it's going to take the together. Yes, that's what we need, lawyers, DOC Watch, lawyers. We need a group here that say, you know what, it's time for a change, and we're not afraid of you, and we're going to, we need a group, because they're gonna have to work together, because they're gonna have to go for us, but we need a group that is not afraid, and a group that is not in the racket and not a part of it. Really, I'm just saying, it's just gonna take a uniteness. I don't care how you look at it, what you say, how you slice it. We cannot do things separated and divided, and talk is cheap. we're gonna have to come in black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, they're all there. It is strength in numbers.
Unity, yes, yes.
With the lawyers and with us. Find, some doctors or whatever who say, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. That's what we need. That's it. I mean, it's simple.
I'm gonna tell you a little story short. We come from a little town called Elkhart, Indiana. We have corrupt police officers that call themselves the Wolverines. Guess what they do? They go out and they find whoever, blacks mostly, Hispanics, whites, anybody that they think they can and do it to. They write lies, false allegations, coerce them into saying they guilty, they not guilty. They have gotten my daughter sitting out there, her uncle just got paid for them putting him in prison for a crime that he didn't do. My son, they picked up his case for a crime that he's sitting in prison that he didn't do. I got a brother that's been in there for 38 years. They picked up his case for a crime that he didn't do. They picked up another young man's crime, and the man had some mental problems. They picked up his case. He's out. He got millions of dollars.
2 months ago, they granted him the state. The city of Elkhart gave him $11 million.
Yes. It is corruption within not just the Department of Correction, but with our policemen, our government.
Yes.
And it's time for people to stand up and start. I ain't got no problem with opening my mouth. Ain't no need me lying. And I'm gonna be the first one in the line. And all I can do is tell them to get back, don't touch. So, putting it in a book, that's fine and dandy. We need to go on the TV. We need to get on some of these talk shows. We need to, I'm gonna turn you on to Elliot Saucer and them in Chicago. He's an attorney in the city. See if they can help you with this. But it's just, like she said, we need to do something. I'm angry. I'm angry. It made me bitter because I didn't think people was like that. How can you mistreat another human being?
Because they're not human.
It don't make no sense. For names, they making nickels and dimes within the Department of Corrections. They walking around like they really police, but they just guards. They want to be tough, bullies. Pull out that badge, come on outside. Let me see what you're working with. That's what I'm talking about.
Non-violence.
And they didn't like my son because my son speaks up for himself. He's a man. He's not a boy. They call him the B word. They call him this. They tell him what they'll do to him. He tell them, come on in that cell, take that on, come on. See, they don't like you to speak up for yourself. They want you to yes, sir, no, so bend down. You ain't got to bow down to nobody but the man upstairs. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't wake up. So, hey, that's what needs to be done. We need it now. Like yesterday.
Is it information or what was this one for?
That's me, that's me. I wrote that down.
Oh, you wrote, oh. I didn't want to ignore anyone if they had something.
Thank you both for your answers to those questions. We're gonna ask a couple more questions from the audience. I think you had a question. Did anyone else Want to ask any questions? Yeah.
I don't actually have a question.
That's okay.
More so
You have a
just
comment?
Really, really, I just want to thank you all for being here and sharing your stories.
Thank you for being here.
It's something that you shouldn't have to do, but it happened to you all, and you sharing your stories. Don't ever doubt your impact on other people's lives, because it does make a difference. When people hear your stories, and that's something that I just want to say that you showing up for your loved ones is what love is, and that's what love is showing up for people. And we as humans all need to show up for one another and share these stories and share our resources and get out there. This is something that's been really important for me too, is just getting out there and doing what I can, with myself and the time I have, because, it's just, that's what I want to do.
So appreciate you. Because really, I really appreciate that. Because sometimes, even if it didn't happen to you, it's just kind of, just a body, just showing up in the numbers and say, hey, I just support you. I can't do this, I'm just showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I get you. I understand and I care.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's really, it's just that simple. And I truly appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I just want you to know that I see you and I hear you and
That's what
I
I
care
mean.
about
Thank you so
all of
much.
your stories and what's going
Thank
on.
you
It's
so much.
this is what we have to do as humans. We just gotta show up, and so let's do this. No more
Yeah.
of this stuff is going on.
And I just want to comment and with Rosalind as my mother and looking at these three African Americans, women, and it's sadly to say that we are pinpointed and are treated the worst in the prison system. And it's a situation, as me being a mother and my sons, raising them, it was it was just so hard, and it was really terrifying, because once my uncle and my brother became incarcerated, my son was 10 years old and walked to 7-Eleven and got stopped by the police. And all they would say is, oh yeah, we know Kevin Williams, Michael Sims, our sons got harassed, throughout growing up, incarcerated, constantly harassed to where it might imprison them, or, I even had one son that, he was just they were just harassed, put in jail, they murdered him, resuscitated him in front of my youngest son. And my son was an adult when it happened. He was, 21. And I couldn't do nothing about it because he was an adult. But he was they put so much fear in him that he didn't even want to sue him. He was scared that he had a lawsuit. They called me and was like, hey, come get your child. Wait a minute, y'all just told me he was grown. What did you do?
Just told me he was grown.
He said, no, you need to come get him.
And
That's because they had done what they done and he was severely injured. So the justice system, and when my mom came in contact with Miss Queene, it was I was really all for it, and I was like, I'm going. And even though I might be in this small town called Elkhart County, I'm gonna do what I can to help support this IDOC watch, because and it's unfortunate that they treat the minorities and the poor. They treat them so bad. Even Elkhart County, we watched them just shoot a man 17 times. There's no reason. Man had no gun, hands up, because he was poor, and he wasn't black, minority. He was a white man, but he was poor, and they just shot in front of all these people, and nobody was held accountable for that action. So it's really sad. And then when they get sent to prison, they murdered, they're beaten, and then and some of them, when they get out, they be in there so long that they don't, what am I gonna do? My brother come home, what are we gonna do? you know? And he's like, what are we gonna do? He's been there so long and he don't know, you know, we talk to him like, you're like, kind of hold up, you know, the world has changed. You know, what are we gonna do if you get out, you know, is he gonna get a job? You know, will he be able to get a job? We will still have to financially, physically, and mentally support him because he will not be able to make it in this world once he come home. So this program, you know, I mean, I'm just gonna try to find more people to help support because our voice does make a difference and we should go and petition, march. I mean, I'm willing, you know, go somewhere, hold up some signs, show pictures of your son because the government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The injustice, my brother, when he got beaten in that prison, we wrote the government or whatever down here, with whoever, one thing about him being starved, and they sent some back talking about when he got beat somewhere else, and oh, you know about this? At first you didn't, but now so it's the, you know, it's stuff that you think you watch on television, but when it really hits you in reality and you hear the true stories, it really hits you from your heart, and it makes you want to help. And we have to help each other. We have to keep it, we have to help each other, you know, spread that awareness, the book, magazine. My mom might not understand the fact because she's just a boisterous, feisty person. You know, I ain't gonna write no book. I'm gonna go to where you're at, little brother, little sister. But awareness, it has to be spread. Once this gets spread, I'm gonna post, because it's still going on. And the only way it's going to probably, if not probably completely stop, but die down, is awareness. That voice be heard. So,
I'm Rosalind's youngest daughter, Christina. However, the torture that my brother endured while he was in prison, like I started recording things that he was saying. So just in case something happened to him, because he feared for his life. They handcuffed him, maced him, kicked him downstairs just because they could do it. And so, talking to my brother, and this was in Pendleton, and then they shipped him to Wabash, and we thought, so he went from Wabash, Pendleton, back to Wabash, but it just, when he went from Pendleton, they moved him from Pendleton in October of 2022. They sent him to Wabash. We thought things were gonna get better, but they started doing things like underhanded. They started putting things in his food. He was able to send stuff home showing things that was in his food. So he went from this buff, you know, guy to this frail guy, because we were able to finally set up a video visit one time, and we took pictures of him, and he was so little, and he lost so much weight. Then they told us we couldn't visit no more because they said we took, like, while he's on the computer, we were taking pictures of him with our phone, and so they stopped us from being able to visit. But he was being deprived of his food and proper nutrition. I began to write letters. I wrote the governor, I wrote the commissioner, I wrote some senators. I made a video on Facebook. But the one thing that really when I sent the letters to where they would have to be signed for. I sent a group of letters in October. I just got back the cards 2 weeks ago. I had my sister send a set of letters out. One letter came back from the governor, and it was weird because it didn't have like the proper labeling, the proper stamping or anything. But I wrote naming some of the things that he was being deprived of. I didn't really go into a whole lot of details, but I pinpointed, some key areas. One of them was not him being beaten. It was not about him receiving broken bones. But the response I got back was, we're writing you in regards to you saying your brother was beaten and kicked downstairs and broken bones. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. This letter has nothing like, so I'm like, who is this? Who did this come from? So it's, the scary part is when we have people, like we're talking about our voice being heard, but we have people in high places, who are a part of this cover up and corruption. And when you talk about people, prosecutors say, oh yeah, we know how they are, or they talking to counsel, oh yeah, we know how they are. Even wardens are afraid because the guards are running the prison. But then there's still, it's like any kind of sickness or illness, there's a core. If you can get to that core, if you can get to that part and start treating it, then you can get rid of some of the symptoms that are happening around it. But we just need some strong people that's within who are really willing to speak up about the injustice, who are not afraid of just losing their job. People who are really willing to stand up for what's right. And, and not being afraid. Because the stuff that is going on, like talking to my brother was at time, I thank God that I am who I am. I thank God that I believe in faith. I believe in the power of prayer. I study his word. And it was because of that I was able to even have a conversation with my brother. Because it took so much energy. Because you can hear the brokenness. Now, I do believe that some of those letters that went out, I believe something is taking place because he was moved. He went to Wabash in October 2023. He was moved to Michigan City here in the last 30 days. And Wabash or Pendleton, we couldn't send him commissary. We couldn't put money on his books. They called him, they made him indigent. They made him indigent, right? But yet still, he wasn't even given toothbrush, toilet paper. He wasn't given any of these things. But since they moved him to Michigan City, they took him out from being confined. Now he's in population. Now he's able to get commissary. Talking to him from now until then, just him being able to get a bag of potato chips. So and now he's able to talk to other inmates, when they complain, and it's like they gotta understand the brokenness. My brother, they tried to kill him. At one point his mind was gone. Literally. His mind was gone. He was a stranger. Like we didn't know who he was. They had got into his mind. But because we prayed and we believed and we had faith, we knew it wasn't nobody but God that brought him back. So now he's in the word of God. Now he knows, okay, we're going to keep praying. We're going to keep doing this. Boom, boom, boom. So now that he's in this place he's at now, he can talk to other people and minister to them and say, hey, because my brother was put in a humble state. He's humble. He understands. Listen, man, don't complain. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know where I came from. You don't know what I've been through. But I believe, I really do. I don't know how. But I do believe in all my heart of hearts that he's gonna be coming home real soon. I do. I believe that. I just really hope so.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Okay, we do have time for one more question or comment, or if anyone else would like to share their story. We have a little bit more time for that. All right.
I'll say something.
Yeah.
Say something after you.
So, I don't watch a lot of TV no more. I've literally turned into a YouTuber. But as everybody was talking and everybody was sharing, I was thinking about like certain stuff was just popping up in my head. Number one, anybody in here seen the movie Bugs Life? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So, grasshoppers, is they raggedy asses? We the ants, y'all get the message? Okay. Number 2. While you were sharing your story, I don't know why, the color purple came in. Sophia. You know what I'm talking about?
Sat in that jail cell.
When she sat in that jail cell all that time and they made her stay there until they just thought she was freaking broken. You see what I'm saying? And another thing that came to my mind was the way that they put all of this stuff in front of us to normalize
Yeah,
the mistreatment
yeah.
of the people. I mean, because, yeah, we can hear about it, and every time, like I hear, unfortunately, the sad thing is I hear so many of those stories, and my jaw literally drops every time. But the way that they put it on our TV stations and the way that they got it all wrapped up in our music and in our reading and all this old stuff, that's their weapon to normalize this mistreatment. So that, yeah, y'all might get a few disgruntled employees, you know what I'm saying? But the rest of them, they all right with it. That's the only point I wanted to make.
One last thing that I wanted to say, you know, also with my son, there's this thing about body parts. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. But my son's brother's girlfriend, and I didn't even know that really my son's body was at the corner. Or she said, yeah, his body came through, and she was working there, and she told me, and I cried. I cried and I cried. You know what she told me? And she got fired. They cut his tongue out.
Oh.
And his spleen. Now I don't know the body parts thing, but that I was looking on my list of things. I don't know, but see, she got fired. They said because there's certain things that they're not supposed to tell that happens in the corners. Why? Because of probably what was going down his throat, evidence, and things like that. I'm telling you, this story, this thing is horrific. It's hard. It's wrenching. It's wrenching. And I have no idea when I was in the bed asleep, actually what my son was. Can you imagine what he was going through? Because when the coroner first seen his body, they said, "Your son put up a heck of a fight." And actually, God even gave me a dream, and I told the coroner. I told her in my dream, it said that you were supposed to look up under his fingernails, and you did. And I told her about the dream, and you know what she said? You're right, we didn't. I mean, this is in your face stuff about my child. I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, it's you know, I don't know why, but I'm saying, y'all, and like you said, what's happened to your brother and everything. And okay, he made it through. And I personally believe God let him make it through for a reason that he knows. But that the experience, guess what? How many others are going to have their experience and they might not make it through? And see, those are the things, because of his experience, those are the things that we do want to stop. But we have to expose, not just awareness. Those things have to be documented. And then we have to have papers, we have to have all those things, you know what I'm saying, together. And to be able to, you see, this is a legal thing. We can't just talk, you can't just tell our stories, right. No, this is a legal thing. You know, just like what's going on with Trump now, what's going on with Biden, his son, all of that. This stuff it's illegal. So we have to have our stuff in order if we're gonna take anything to the next level. I mean, this is very serious. You have to have evidence, you have to have documents to put inside, to present to a Supreme Court. So guess what? They can see it, and you know, if you can get pictures, send the pictures, show them. It's like, you are accountable. Did you put an oath to God? Did you? Because what's on that money? In God we trust. What's in the Constitution? What we say? One nation under God. Okay? What part are you not doing your part? I mean, get to the heart of it. Get to the soul of it. Because this is very, very serious. your bodies are being tortured, like you had brought up, you know, Palestine and those people. I mean, I can't even imagine the stuff, you know, they are hurting. We hurt. When somebody jabs you with something, can you imagine somebody got you alone? Little kids, you know, being raped and murdered because they're somewhere by themselves. It's you know, it's the same thing. And one other thing I wanted to bring up, the prison system is no different. What if you have a loved one in a senior citizen home, like or say like a daycare? When those people, when you put them, like the state, they're taken care of through our tax dollars, them, okay? We expect you to take care of them right.
Yes.
Like you take your child or your granny or somebody that's going through a mentalness, and you expect that company to take care of them, right? How many nursing homes are being sued? How many daycares are being sued? Because you were supposed to take care of them. Guess what? If somebody is trying to hurt them and you they put in the wrong position, so how is the prison system different than the daycare, than the old folks home? And, you know, I'm just saying, how's that any different? They are under your care. This is what you're getting paid for. I'm just saying, does it make sense? Does it make sense? It doesn't matter. They're still human beings. Baby's in the hospital. Right now, my grandbaby is in the hospital fighting for his life. Those nurses, you are responsible to make sure those monitors are checked. My mother, she died in a nursing home, and we sued them because guess what? Through the night, they did not check her blood pressure, and she died. But what I'm saying is a comparison to the prison where I'm bringing in the law part, because we have to look at the part, Queen. We have to bring the law. You need lawyers, and you know what? We don't even need real lawyers. We just need somebody with the gift of administration, law. Somebody's like, you know what, let me look, section so. We don't really need them. We just need to know the law. We need somebody, because see, God has given us all gifts and talents. Just pick somebody in their area and get 7, 8, 10 of them. I need you to go to work. I need you to write down everything. It's like, what are the policies? Like me and Queen, you know, when I was talking to you about, I don't know what are the hours. Like my son, like 8 to 10 hours dead. What time were they supposed to check him? When was the last time? See, I have none of that. But I'm saying these are the things that the legal part. Because when it comes up to fighting, we gotta have our legal ducks in a row.
You know, and
that's all I want to say about
my son tried to commit suicide. They say he tried to overdose on some pills. So my question was, where did he get the pills to do that from? Because he didn't go to med, he wasn't sick, so where did he get it from? But then this attorney that represented him was a public defender, and they postponed my son's trial because they said that he tried to commit suicide. His lawyer wrote on paper, bold paper, that somebody beat the crap out of him, busted his head wide open. So I got documentation. Everything I sit up here and I talk about, I got documentation. I write on a piece of paper, envelope, I don't care. I keep it. I put their names down. If they give it to you, they don't want to identify themselves. But then they want you to identify yourself. I don't have to identify myself. You ain't identifying yourself. But you won't know my name. What's your name? You know, that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. It's just.
And it's a money racket too. So, you know, if we can just, even if, you know, things are not accountable for, you know, get in their pockets. Hey, we're gonna sue you, because guess what? Legally, you're wrong. Let's get their money. We take their money, and guess what? Then we put it in the program. And we hire more lawyers. We do. We're gonna get your money. Like, pay me. So I'm gonna help Queen.
You know,
hey, give me about $3 million for murdering my son. And guess what? It's gonna help the program. It's gonna help. It's other people that, you know. Let's do that. Give me money. Give me some money. for my sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't had a vacation or nothing. I've been homeless and everything because of y'all. Give me some of my joy back. Pay me. Okay, so I can continue, I'm just saying, money works too, because that's what it is. I mean, let's get the cash and go to work.
Can I just say
Yes,
one
please.
thing real quick, because, I mean, this is an incredible event. I've been to a lot of them, one of the most incredible, but just to wrap it up real quick, what Ms. Arnold said, and of course, Ms. Goodman, about their sons, and I was gonna take a picture in the magazine, and then somebody said she might not want you to do that. And then they asked her, and she said, of course do it. I really want a billboard on the highway.
We get it.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
And then it just took my mind back, all the way back to Emmett Till. When that mama, when they was trying to protect her feelings.
Yes.
And they was trying to protect her emotion. And they said, we're gonna close the casket. And then she said, don't you dare.
That's me.
I'll rip
That's
the
me.
top off. I want them to see
That's what
what they done to my baby. You know? And then we go from that time, and then we wake up today, present day, 2024, and we see a lot of women, a lot of mothers, but so many black women saying the same thing. Don't close that book. Let them take pictures. I want them to see what they done to my baby. It's about time. It's about time that women have to stop worrying about their baby.
Thank you so much for that. I think that was the perfect way to end this discussion, actually. So I just want to say, as we draw the gathering to a close, I'm inspired by your resilience and strength people like you, and I'm sure the audience is as well. Also inspired by everyone who shared their stories tonight. You didn't have to, you didn't know you were, but you still came here and shared your stories, and I respect you so much for that. So thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
I implore you all to take your emotions and insights from tonight and turn them into tangible actions. Advocate for dismantling injustices within the Indiana Department of Corrections. And consider donating to support the Indianapolis Liberation Center and Focus Family Initiatives. Your contributions are crucial to amplifying our voices and efforts against systemic injustices. Do not let the momentum of tonight wane. Stay actively engaged with our movement by joining advocacy campaigns, attending future events, and sharing the knowledge you've acquired in your circles. Every discussion you initiate broadens the impact of your collective voice. Keep connected with us through our newsletter, our social media channels. These are not merely platforms for updates, but are essential tools for dialogue, discussion, and driving forward the mission for systemic change. In closing, my heartfelt thanks goes out to everyone here. This evening has underscored the incredible potential of our efforts. As we step into the days ahead, let us carry the stories and spirit of resolve we've shared, channeling our collective grief and frustration into a forceful drive for justice. Thank you for an unforgettable evening. Let this not be the end, but a call to continue our shared journey toward a world where justice and compassion prevail. Thank you.